The night smelled like smoke, beer, and trouble. Inside the Rusty Spoon diner, neon lights flickered against rain-streaked windows, painting the cracked floor in bruised colors. A young waitress, Lena Brooks, 22, quiet but tough, was clearing the counter when a man with tattoos creeping up his neck slammed his glass down and grinned. "You think you can ignore me, sweetheart?" he growled. Nobody noticed at first, not until he grabbed her by the collar and with one sudden jerk ripped her shirt, exposing her shoulder. Her tray clattered to the ground. Shock. Silence. And then came the roar of engines outside. The glass door swung open. 6 bikers stepped in, the Hells Angels, leather vests gleaming with rain, eyes sharp as blades. The leader, Ryder Cole, stared at the tattooed stranger and said in a low voice that made the room freeze, "Let's see who can save you now." The night would never be the same again. Lena Brooks had been working double shifts for months, trying to pay her sick mother's hospital bills. The Rusty Spoon wasn't glamorous, it was the kind of place where dreams came to die slowly under the buzz of cheap fluorescent lights. But Lena believed in small kindnesses. She refilled old men's coffee without being asked, smiled even when tips were scarce, and never complained, until he walked in. The stranger called himself Cruz, a man with tattoos that told a story of prisons, knives, and lost humanity. His eyes were hollow, like someone who had seen too much darkness and learned to live in it. He sat at the counter every night for a week, barely talking. But that night, something snapped. Maybe it was the whiskey, maybe the rain pounding the tin roof, or maybe it was the brokenness inside him begging for control over something, someone. When he grabbed Lena and tore her shirt, the sound of fabric splitting seemed louder than thunder. Her heart pounded, her eyes welled with tears she refused to let fall. Around her, the other customers froze, afraid, ashamed, or just unwilling to interfere. Lena's hands trembled as she tried to back away. "Please," she whispered, "don't do this." Cruz smirked, his breath reeking of alcohol. "You think anyone's gonna save you?" Then came the low, rumbling thunder of motorcycle engines from outside, deep and synchronized, like a heartbeat of vengeance. Every head turned. The door burst open. Rain spilled in, followed by 6 men in black leather and heavy boots. Their vests bore the unmistakable emblem, the skull-winged insignia of the Hells Angels. Their leader, Ryder Cole, wasn't a man you looked in the eye for long. 6'4", with a scar down his jaw and calm fury in his gaze. He walked straight toward Cruz. "You picked the wrong night to be a coward," Ryder said quietly. Cruz tried to square up, but his hands shook. "Stay out of this, old man." She asked for it. Ryder's jaw tightened. "No one asks for this." In a flash, Ryder slammed Cruz against the counter. The room gasped. Glass shattered. Cruz swung wildly, but Ryder ducked, drove his fist into his ribs, then threw him to the floor. The other angels stepped in, holding the crowd back, making sure Lena was safe. For the first time that night, she let herself cry. But Ryder didn't look at her with pity, only respect. "You're safe now," he said gently, pulling his jacket off and wrapping it around her shoulders. The diner fell silent except for the rain. And then Lena whispered the words that would change everything. "Why would you help me?" Ryder looked down, his voice low and steady. "Because someone once helped me when nobody else would." The police came, took Cruz away, and filled out their reports. But for Lena, the night replayed in her mind like a wound that wouldn't close. She tried to go back to work the next day, pretending nothing happened, but the whispering customers and pitying glances made it impossible. A week later, she found herself walking down the same rainy street where Ryder had saved her. She didn't expect to see him again, but there he was, outside the Hells Angels garage, fixing a bike, grease on his hands, a cigarette hanging from his lips. He looked up when he saw her. "Didn't think I'd see you again," he said. Lena smiled faintly. "I didn't think I'd want to." They talked for hours. She told him about her mother, about the bills, about how alone she'd felt. He listened without interrupting, a man who understood pain but had learned to live with it. Ryder told her about his past too, how he used to be the man she feared that night. How someone had pulled him out of the dark, told him he could be better. "We all need saving," he said. "Sometimes the ones who save us are the ones we least expect." Over time, the angels became her unlikely family. They watched over her, protected her from the whispers and the nightmares. And Lena, in return, brought warmth to their cold world, making coffee, bringing food, reminding them that even in the roughest souls, goodness still flickered. But one night, Cruz came back. Out on parole, fueled by revenge and humiliation, he tracked her down outside the diner. He grabbed her again, sneering. "Where's your biker boyfriend now?" But before he could hurt her, a roar filled the street, dozens of motorcycles, their headlights cutting through the rain. The angels surrounded him. Ryder stepped off his bike, slow and calm, and said, "We told you once. You don't touch what's under our protection." Cruz swung a knife, but Ryder caught his wrist midair. With one twist, the blade clattered to the ground. Ryder's voice was steady, almost sorrowful. "You could have walked away." The police took Cruz again, this time for good. Lena stood there trembling, tears mixing with rain, and Ryder handed her his jacket again. "You don't have to be afraid anymore," he said. She looked at him and whispered, "You were wrong before, you know. You said someone once saved you. Yeah. Maybe it's your turn now, to let someone save you." For the first time in years, Ryder smiled, really smiled. Clapperboard Epilogue, the message. Months later, the Rusty Spoon had new paint, new lights, and laughter again. Lena's mother recovered. Ryder still came by every night, sitting quietly at the counter while Lena poured his coffee. And in the soft glow of neon, their shared silence spoke volumes. That even in a world of scars and storms, kindness can still roar louder than violence. Because sometimes, the ones who look the most dangerous, are the ones who carry the biggest hearts.